Well, you heard the lady. I always tell you that. So it's What's Up Lagos, of course, and we are getting into the moment where we discuss power solutions. Well, that's what the show is called right now, and I have my co-anchor, co-host, joining me with a special guest right here. But first, let's set the mood right to let you know what it's all about. It is where we discuss the aspects of power, how we can bridge the gap, the energy gap, if you like, in Nigeria. I'll be right back to bring you my co-host just in a moment. Well, the time is ripe, and I have on the other side of the divide my co-hosts, the amazing Wiebe Boer. Good to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm okay, Collins. Thank you for playing the song. When you hadn't played the track at first, I was disoriented. So thanks for bringing it back in.
Absolutely. So let's get into it.
I still think it's the best theme song on radio, man. It's awesome. Anyway,
I think so too. Sounds great. I mean, it tells a story in itself. And that's what we're here. Talk about power. We want people to stop, no, bring light. They stop having that complaints and they start doing something, right?
Exactly.
We have a special guest.
Exactly.
Would you do us the honors to at least bring our guest to a listener?
Yes. So this morning, our guest is Adeosun from Ardova PLC. Mm-hmm. He, like me, is an Arsenal fan, so obviously had a very good celebratory weekend. Been a very good week. So Olu, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, Wiebe. It's a pleasure to be on.
All right. So tell us, Olu, tell the audience a little bit about who you are and how you ended up as the CEO of Nigeria's largest retail petroleum company.
Thanks, Wiebe. I think it's great that you call us the largest downstream company. I'll remind my chairman when I see him next.
Okay.
So I fell into the oil industry, I think, by chance. My educational background was I studied architecture in California. I graduated at that very awkward time in the 90s when there was a global recession and architects were not getting jobs for love or money. My father had been in business in corporate, and he kind of suggested that, look, if you want to stay in architecture, then you really got to maybe start your own practice and do it that way, or you might as well try and get into business. I looked at the odds, and I saw that all the architects that I admired who were in their 50s and were just starting to make names for themselves, and I couldn't really see the shekels in the business either. So I decided to go down the business route. My first job was at PwC. I joined them after I did a master's in maths, cryptography, to kind of convert. And I did a lot of work in tech risk specifically. Over the course of the tech risk, I got a job. One of my engagements was with BP, who were trying to do a few interesting things in secure payments at the time. And I got stuck there, and I spent about 16 years there in the end. I joined as a risk analyst, and I worked across a number of roles, commercial and functional. I think the best thing that happened for me at BP was, and this is kind of like, luck actually is a very common, or let's call it good fortune. When I was at BP, when I joined BP, I was invited to join something called an Emerging Leaders Program. And it was a program for people they thought had potential. And what that meant was that you got to work across the business. Mm-hmm. And in that business I ended up in the supply and trading business, and I really had a good time doing it. Part of my remit at the time was to develop a strategy for trading in West Africa. Before that, BP had been trading in West Africa, but not in any kind of meaningful way. So we put a strategy together. I was part of the maiden team that came down here as a VP Commercial Development and Operations. And I really enjoyed the time I spent here. It was about 6 months in 2011, 2012. And before that, I had not actually had a professional job in Nigeria. I had never worked formally in Nigeria. So when I went back, I resolved to do everything in my power, in my ability, to make sure I was back in Nigeria and doing something in the oil sector. In coming back to Nigeria, the avenue I got in was through consulting. I did a lot of consulting, particularly in the upstream and downstream space. And over the course of that time, I came to work with Prudence, and the rest, I think, from there on is history. And that's how I found myself running Ardova PLC, the largest indigenous downstream company.
Wow, what a journey. Very inspiring, I must say. And if you're just joining us, you're listening to Power Solutions. We're live on Nigeria's number one for talk, 99.3. Nigeria Info. Have Dr. Wiebe on the other side. And our special guest, Adeosun, who just explained a few things that you needed to hear. And we're theming this conversation, catalyzing Nigeria's economic growth through renewable energy. And I'll just go straight with my next question. For our special guest today, and that's talking about the gentleman Adeosun. Now, tell us about the acquisition of the Fort Oil to Ardova PLC, and how was the journey like for you and the company? We'd like to know.
Thank you, Collins. So we formally took over the company on the 21st of June. One of the things that was obvious over the course of the negotiation was that we would have to change the name. Not because that's the first thing we thought, but because the name is actually personal to the previous owner. My chairman, who basically had the foresight, the vision, the deep pockets, and the proverbial strength or courage to do the deal, basically was insistent that yes, we have to rebrand, but we had to rebrand once. We're not going to get 3 or 4 goes at this. We have to rebrand it once. And so we knew that we were going to have to move from Forte to something else. So we invested a bit of time trying to think of what the business itself was going to be, the kind of business we wanted to be running in about a year's time. And it became very clear to us that what was missing was that we needed to make that transition from a traditional petroleum company with oil in its name to one that was really starting to think of the energy transition and meant. And also laying stake to the fact that we are going to spend a lot of our time and a lot of our resources looking at providing cleaner energy. So the journey then became about finding the right company to visualize the brand that we saw. And in it, we found a good company called Ardova Newton. A lot of the credit goes to them. They really understood what we're trying to do. They understood that we had bought into an institution and we're trying to maintain the institutional qualities of this thing, but at the same time, it's a company that was going to be relevant 55 years down the line. So on the 13th of February 2020, we pulled the plug. We launched Ardova PLC. And for those who don't know, Ardova is a derivative of 2 words: Arda, which is a Dutch and Arabic word for earth, and the Va is an abridgment of value. And what the message we're trying to tell is that we are here to preserve the earth's value. Wow. I'm sure that's going to be very hypocritical coming from a downstream company, but we'll come to that, I'm sure, in time. Right. So our mission is we want to be part of preserving the earth's value.
Wow. All right. So Olu, thanks for that. And obviously the name itself, it kind of puts you on the hook to deliver that, right?
Absolutely.
And as a Dutch Nigerian who actually doesn't speak Dutch, I'm very glad you used the Dutch word. But look, I'm also a historian, and I think it's interesting that you also took, Forte back to its roots as African Petroleum. It was AP in the past. Was that part of the part of the choice, or was it just lucky that Ardova started with A?
Wiebe, there's no coincidence and there's no luck in life. Right? No, the initials, the APE, was quite an important piece for us. One of the things we found post-acquisition and just touring the length and breadth of the country was we realized that actually outside of the Southwest, a lot of people did not go through the process of actually converting from AP to Forte. In the north, in Sokoto, I found that quite a few of the stations were still called AP. We found that in the dealer forums and in the transporter forums, they kept referring to the company as AP. And for us, we actually felt that if we're going to change the name anyway, we did not necessarily have to. My chairman was adamant that he did not want to customize or personalize the name. So for us, it was almost a no-brainer because we saw that there was a lot of residual value in this company. So part of the brief that we gave was that there had to be it had to kind of capture that AP moniker so that we could then and appeal to people's sense of nostalgia and leverage some of that, the residual brand capital that was inherent in AP.
Great work, I must say. Now, what is the focus of this company now within the sector? And I would really like to know, are your services changing or just a change of name?
That's a very good question. Now, wouldn't it just be a hollow gesture if it was just a change of name, right? So what we do very well as a company, and what we've done very well for the last 55 years, actually, Collins, is that we have built a lot of excellence in the distribution of hydrocarbons, the supply and of hydrocarbons, particularly in the retail space. We also have industrial customers. We're not going to transform this business overnight. 90% of our revenue still comes from the supply of hydrocarbons. What we are staking our tents out for is the fact that we recognize that actually hydrocarbons globally have a time to live, have an inherent risk associated with them. The risk has always been there. It hasn't just come up today. And we're aware that technology and progress has meant that there are other means of delivering energy. And for us as a company, one of our strategic intents, apart from really maximizing the throughput with the existing business, was to make sure that we diversified. And the diversification was really done for several purposes. One, sustainability of the brand. Everywhere in the world you looked at, a lot of countries are winding down their hydrocarbon investments, let's put it that way. And the new investment is towards renewable. So for us, it was important that we also saw renewables as a part of the future story. We're blessed in Nigeria to have a great deal of sunshine. We're blessed in Nigeria to produce, because of our large population, to produce a lot of waste. We're also blessed to have a very large energy consumption. So if you look at those three things together, then really trying to play the card forward is really about trying to make sure that, one, you are leveraging the natural resources we have that are not necessarily hydrocarbon, leveraging our distribution capability, and then try to tie those two together so that you are now using the hydrocarbon capability to deliver clean energy at people's points of view. So new services. Sorry.
Yeah. So let me jump forward then. I mean, as a major sort of, as you're saying, hydrocarbon distributor for the renewable sector, you would normally be seen as sort of the bad guy.
Yeah.
The enemy, so to speak. But now you're sort of almost joining the field. How are you kind of gaining the trust of that whole sector in a way that you're bringing them in as part of your journey?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a good question. One of the things that we noticed is that the diesel space, actually, even in Nigeria, is increasingly under threat from multiple sources. It's under threat from solar. and it's under threat from LPG.
Okay.
And for us, we recognize that we did not have our core competency, like I said, is around distribution. So we don't have that capability. I happen to have some personal history with Renewable. So one of the ways we've gone about doing it is to make sure, well, first of all, was to become consumers of renewables ourselves. And what do I mean by that? The first thing we did was to recognize that we were also burning hydrocarbons at our stations. So to run them, why don't we let's start converting some of our stations to run on renewables. Let's try. So we became customers to the guys who do this. If I can name check on this show, but we use the leading solar company in Nigeria, and we now have 12 stations that are piloting, running entirely or primarily on solar. For some of the other initiatives that we've been looking at, we don't have the capability, so we've actually been collaborating with various experts in the field. And I think that and there's a nice synergy there, because some of the things that we have, they don't have. So not a lot of renewables companies have the reach of the nationwide presence that we do. Not a lot of them have the customer base that we do, that are already consumers of energy. So really the journey is about conversion. So what I try to do, at least on the B2B side, is to make sure that we're working with people who know what they're doing. Now on the customer side, on the retail side, we know we have a lot of work to do. I don't think people are necessarily going to start believing that a company that has been trading in dirty fuels for so long is suddenly going to become a purveyor of clean energy. But we hope that by putting a few of these hubs down and people seeing them working, people see us walking the talk, and hopefully we'll gain credibility that way.
Well, great. We're speaking with the CEO of Ardova, and we are discussing catalyzing Nigeria's economic growth through renewable energy. A lot has been covered just thus far. There's a lot more to talk about, just like my next question now. You said that one of your goals really is creating energy sufficiency that empowers. How do you think, or what do you think can drive this for Nigeria, and how will it help?
Yeah. So creating energy that is sufficient, that empowers, for us, it's really, so our philosophy on fuels is that fuels are not something that you add on to your day. Fuels are an inherent part of your day. So for a guy who's got a job interview and needs to be there on time, we are the guys that kind of make sure that the station is open at 6 o'clock when he needs it, on Sunday night when he needs it, where they make sure that the public transport that he's going to use to get to that interview does that. Now, for us, the idea, we expand that idea into the renewable space. It means that we would like to support people in more than just an individual way. We see filling stations as the last bastion, of the last physical infrastructure that most people will see now. Banks have gone online. Most things have gone online. So really, energy is one of those things that you cannot sell on. You can't sell via credit, right? I can't wire you power.
Not yet.
It's coming, I'm sure, right? Not yet. So what we started to look at is to see, well, how do we make these stations that are the last bastion of civilization, if you like, or light industry for most people? How do we make stations do more? Well, we are very lucky that we are located in different parts of the country, and different parts of the countries have different characteristics. I know livestock, some are known for agricultural produce, some are known for their maritime activities, etc., etc. Have natural resources. And part of the solution that we're hoping to bring is to be able to extend the utility of a service station such that it becomes something that you use to add value to whatever your community is able to do. And we know power has that inherent ability. Power allows you to add value to things, right? Allows you to convert cotton into fabric, right? Power allows you to take a tuber of cassava and convert it into gari. Power is that thing, and what we're saying is that we would like to provide power at the point at which it is needed, so value can be added almost at the point of need, and that's what we mean by that. And we're already doing that in the hydrocarbon space, and I think it's natural progression. We're making sure that we use energy to actually create value for people, or allow people to create value for themselves.
Okay, so let's then go to another one of your focus areas, and actually the theme of the show, catalyzing Nigeria's economic growth through renewable energy. Again, it's amazing that a downstream oil and gas company is now, looking at doing this. How are you hoping to accomplish this? How are you going to help drive economic growth through renewable energy in Nigeria?
Okay, I'm going to try and do this without giving any trade secrets away, right?
Right.
We are in year one. We have the balance of 3 years to deliver on the 4-year strategy we set out to deliver against. But one of the things that, I think in the previous question that I was trying to set up a platform where if we believe that actually by providing energy in a way that is easy to access, you are also providing the opportunity to create value. Mm-hmm. And I think what we're saying now, we're starting to recognize that actually for this to really move, a catalyst is something that creates, that accelerates a process, right? So we're realizing that for us to actually use fuel at a station as a catalyst, it must do more than just satisfy an individual's need. It must start to work and operate at the community level. So we're saying that there is a lot of spare capacity in our stations right now. And that spare capacity will exist regardless of what the power source is. And we are trying to create a construct where you can use the site of a filling station is no longer what you think of it as traditionally. So you can then use you can then put some widgets, some technology, innovation in the existing station and new stations that allows communities to have the type of power they need to transform and catalyze their local communities. If we do this in enough places, we create enough flashpoints, in time you'll have a roaring bushfire. And that's kind of that's really what we're hoping to do, is to really start these pockets of accelerated power accessibility, and then use that to really start to transform communities. Because we're going to be bringing more than just enough power to run a small better past my generator. We're trying to move beyond that.
Well, he is Adeosun. He is the CEO of Ardova. And we're discussing, of course, on Power Solutions today with Dr. Wiebe Boer on the other side, and addressed a lot of questions. If you do have a comment or a question, just anything to say, you want to say hi, you have the right to do so. You can call the radio station quickly and let us know what your comment is. We have addressed several issues. But now my next question, the number, by the way, is 0700 993 993 993. Yeah, here's my question to you. We know that there is solar, there is biomass energy, there is biodiesel, and even CPG. The impact of renewable energy, of course, on the health, instead of the fumes and the pollutants from diesel or even petrol, is well known. How can Ardova help accelerate cleaner energy supply, such as the few that I mentioned?
Okay, thank you. So, the first thing we've done, if you want to make an organization move fast to achieve their goals, to make a public statement that declares your intent, and then you have something to be held against. One of the things we said as a company, as a new management team, was that we would look to have clean energy contribute 20% of our revenue by 2024. So we made a bold declaration. That's our goal. So we've we've nailed our colors to that flag. Now, what we intend to do is we intend to go about this via several means. So for us, we've identified three kind of primary ways to play. We're playing the solar space. We're going to play in the waste to energy space. And we will certainly be playing a lot and making investments in the LPG space. So those are the three areas. So part of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis is maintaining what I call silent running. That is maintaining the hydrocarbons business. It's still doing well. And I think if you go look at what we're doing now, we're doing okay. But in parallel, we have started making investments, signing, forming partnerships that will allow us to participate in these three areas. And we think by increasing our participation in these three areas, in the LPG, in waste to energy, and in solar, we're already taking hydrocarbons off the ground, right? We're already taking those pollutants off the ground. And by investing, the more we succeed with the renewable investments in renewables, which is what it actually needs. It needs a lot of blind investment right now. But for most of it, we're seeing that the payback is going to be 2-3 years. So we're quite comfortable with that. Because the benefit is far greater than anything that we can that we can look at the time as well.
Weebe,
okay, so,
Weebe, you're taking us home,
we're running out of time.
Yes, you're taking us home now, but I think someone has been on the line for a while. Let's see if.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi. Good day. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hi. Yeah. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, I think we have to run. Our time is really fast spent, Wiebe.
Okay.
How would you like to take us home?
Oh wow. Okay, I still have like 13 more questions, Colin. So, okay,
should we have a part 2?
Yeah, well,
let's do that. I like that.
We have to bring him back in about 3 years to see if they're actually doing what they say they're going to do. But look, let me just end with 2 quick points. 2 quick questions. One is, how are you guys weathering COVID-19, and is it helping sort of accelerate the energy transition? And then a little bit more of a cheeky question. You're a lot less sort of high profile on social media than your predecessor. And is that deliberate? And are you soon going to be a social media star also?
Okay. Sorry, the first question was. The first question?
Weathering
COVID-19.
Oh, right.
Accelerating the energy transition.
Yeah, so yes, very short answer, yes. It became very obvious to us that it's quite possible for this country to shut down for a month. And in that month, no more petrol from us. And that's 90% of our business. So whilst we had plans and we had advanced our participation, our exploration into the renewable space, it became very obvious that we needed something more. So yes, COVID has everything to do with the acceleration. Yes, the plans were there, but COVID really brought the point home, and my board has been very supportive in that regard. Social media. So I like to think I participate. I have a Facebook account. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn. What I'm not good at is the Twitter, and it's very simple. If you know me, you'll know I'm a bit of an introvert. I would rather do things than spend a lot of time talking about doing things, and I see that there is a lot of scope for conversation on some of these mediums. Okay. So for the moment, we're heads down, focused on really doing what we've agreed that we're going to do.
Right. Thank you. Yes, great, gentlemen. We have to go now. I would love to hear you speak all day. Wiebe, the same, but we have to go. So, of course, it's been a great conversation, I would say. Thank you again, Adeosun, for coming on the show today. And Wiebe, bye. Wiebe,
thank you very much.
All right, guys.
See you next week.
The news coming up
now.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.